Hello, everyone. It's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and from the swamps of Jersey, it's the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. I hope you guys are having a wonderful start to your week. It is Wednesday night. We are at the hump day. We are at the hump evening. It is almost the midway point of the week, and I appreciate all of you guys being here. We have a lot of fun stuff. First and foremost, this is the debut episode for my friends Nick T and Dredger. They will be joining me a little later on. One of, I think, people's favorite segments, and we're going to be doing it later, is the Pulse of the Community, where we take a look at some charged comments, either at me or just at the Yu-Gi-Oh! World in general, and they read it to me. I hear them for the first time, and I'm sure that's going to be fun. Also, later on to come, Nick T and Dredger will be giving their top 5 best characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. 2 weeks ago when we did the very first episode, Calibro and Pete gave their top 5 best duelists, I believe. And, the 5 of us, our lists were like very, very similar. So hopefully there's some variety here. I'm sure they will be. I put Asaka in my top 5, which I probably nobody else has. So I'm sure there's going to be some good variety there. But before we get to those 2 segments, and we're going to bring Nick T and Dredger on in a little bit, I want to talk about kind of our lead topic here. And I really, really wanted to talk about this last month when I had a conversation with somebody that works in the production area of Konami, New York, when it comes to the dub side of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, and I'll get to them and how it all relates. But I knew I had to talk about this when we got the interview last week, because I thought the interview last week was absolutely telling in terms of why we currently do not have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. And really, ever since December, smoke has been bellowing, right? There has been like a lot of smoke. There's been a lot of like mystery as to what happened, right, at Jump Festa. It was a nightmare. I mean, it really was a nightmarish night 5 months ago at Jump Festa, where we shockingly didn't get a new show. We knew Go Rush was ending, and we really didn't know why, right? There was no reason ever provided. We still don't know why, but I think there is a very obvious reason. When you're driving down the road and you see your local Applebee's on fire, right, and you see the smoke, the most important thing is trying to figure out, how did that fire start, right? There's going to be a lot of smoke. You hear the term all the time, smoke and mirrors, right? You don't really know what's going on. But when you look through the smoke, you got to understand why it started. Was it a line cook that got a little careless? Was it one of the kids who improperly, put out his joint behind the Applebee's and that set it ablaze, right? There's going to be a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of questions. And I know people might be asking, well, how does this pertain to us not having a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime? And I think the answer is very obvious, right? Ever since Jump Festa, there have been so much smoke, so many rumors. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh's over because it doesn't need an anime anymore. Weekly animes are impossible to maintain. Konami just doesn't care about the product. Rush duels were so terrible that they just killed the entire anime. There's been so much smoke, but the real reason, I think, has been here all along. If you missed last week, there was an interview with the director of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Actually, 2 of the directors, I believe, or the director and the lead character designed. They're a married couple. The woman of that couple actually did the character designs for Sailor Moon. Tadano, I believe, is her last name. And they said Kazuki Takahashi was a big reason in making Yu-Gi-Oh! Go from Master Rule to Rush. And up until that interview, that piece of information was not known to us. That was like a massive piece of information. And I feel like it was the last piece of the puzzle in starting to kind of accurately realize why we currently don't have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. I'm sure everybody knows, but Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!, the creator of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, tragically and heroically passed away in July of 2022. And he was quite literally the heartbeat for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions about Takahashi is that he stopped caring about this franchise after Duel Monsters ended. You go to different forums and that's all you'll see, right? Oh, Kaz doesn't care about anything after Duel Monsters, right? He hates all the new stuff. That's the take you'll get a lot, that he hates all the new stuff. And the truth is almost the exact opposite of that take. We know that Takahashi was a big reason as to why Yugioh switched from 5Ds to Zexal, right? Zexal was very colorful. It was the youngest protagonist at the time. Yuma was very hyper and energetic. He wanted kind of a little bit of a reset there to appeal to a younger demographic. That was Takahashi's call, and that's kind of what he wanted to do. And now we get another confirmation here that Takahashi wanted to switch from Master and Vrains, right? And Vrains, we'd say it all the time. It was such a serious show. Almost every duel had these crazy stakes, life or death, and I'm sure he saw that and was like, not that he disliked Vrains. I mean, I don't know his opinion on the show, as I'm not going to pretend to. But he said, all right, we need a little bit of a restart here. The game is at a point where it's a little convoluted. Like, we need a game that has an easier barrier of entry for new players and for a younger audience. Thus, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s and Rush Duels were born. And he was imperative in that decision. We now know this as fact from the interview last week. And, you know, I was talking to Rarity Fangirl, who I do the Appreciating Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast with, and I do that podcast with her once a month. And Rarity said to me, she was like, right before we recorded the GX manga, she was like, you know, something that, like, it reminds me of is Disney. It reminds me a little bit of like what happened when Walt Disney passed away, and Disney kind of floundered for like 30 years. And I decided to look it up, and it's absolutely true. Like, here's a couple of excerpts, but like when Walt Disney passed away, Disney really lost their footing for like 30 years. And I'm using Disney as a good example because, you know, I think everybody just knows what Disney is. And there's this article from 2 years ago. Studies suggest that a founding entrepreneur's death wipes out on average 60% of a firm's sales, cuts jobs by roughly 17%. These companies have a 20% lower survival rate 2 years after the founder's death compared to similar firms. Now, Konami's going to be fine. I don't want anybody to, you know, worry about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. Takahashi has not been involved in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game for a very long time now in terms of like producing it, but he was the literal pulse of the anime side. And when he passed away a little less than 3 years ago, I think things changed. And I think, honestly, like, Konami was kind of lost and has been lost since his passings about what direction to take this franchise in now. And I think that's the most obvious reason as to why we no longer have a show. And, you know, I was in New York City, and this is, to get back to the New York City thing, I was in New York City, and a mutual friend of mine, I was talking to somebody, I'm not going to reveal any names, but this is somebody who works in the corporate office on the production side for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dub production. And they said to me that they heard from one of their contacts that Takahashi's passing away kind of left them without any insight as to where to go from here. That they're kind of lost and they don't really know what to do. And I thought that was very interesting. And I was like, well, it makes sense. You see it with companies all the time. There's so many, just look it up. I mean, there's so many stories of a founder or an owner passing away, and then like nobody knows really like what the next appropriate steps are. And I feel like we're kind of in that space right now as Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime fans. And then I had this conversation with somebody over on the Japan side of things, and I'm not going to reveal any names, obviously, but this is somebody that I know for a fact works over at Studio Bridge or is associated with Studio Bridge. I don't want to get into too much detail there. And this is the message that they shared with me about a month ago. I'll start from the third paragraph. And again, English is not this person's first language. Awesome person, by the way. Very, very kind individual. And about the 9th show, I really don't know what Konami is planning. I heard because of the passing of the author, Konami doesn't really know how to or what to do for the 9th show, and maybe to pay respect. And just maybe GX is going to be showing on Japanese television. So maybe after GX is over, we are going to go back to Rush. It's just a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. It is just a rumor, but this is now the second person that I have spoken to in the last 60 days that has told me basically the same thing. One lives here in America. They live in New York City, and the other lives in Japan. They've told me the same thing. nobody really knows what to do now that the creator of the series has passed away. And it leaves us Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime fans in a really scary and unfamiliar territory. Disney, it took them about 3 decades before they got back on their feet. I hope it doesn't take them that long to figure out what they want to do with the show. This doesn't mean that we're never getting another show. It doesn't mean that we're getting another show in 2026 or really anytime soon. Like, the future is still a huge mystery, but I think we got to clear away some of the smoke and some of the debris and a lot of fluff that's out there. And I think at the core of this fire of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime being over for now is the fact that the creator, who was probably a very big consultant in guiding this show through all iterations, whether it was Yu-Gi-Oh! DM or GX or 5Ds. Let's have a reset at Zexal, Arc 5 Reigns. Let's have another reset with the Rush shows with Sevens and Go Rush. I think that's just the biggest reason why. I think it's an obvious reason, and I don't know what's next. I know people are probably like, well, what can we do? I don't know what's next. I mean, maybe you get Masahiro Hikakubo. That's a name. He's written the duels for Duel Monsters through Go Rush. I believe he helped with the writing of Dark Side of Dimension, so he has a little bit of writing experience. I think he was one of the directors for one of the last Go Rush episodes, so he has some experience with that. He's someone who's worked on every Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe he steps up and takes over the reins. Maybe like a Shin Yoshida or an Ono. I don't know. I really don't know what's next, but I think that's been an element of the conversation that really has been missing and overlooked, and I think it is the most solid answer that there is when it comes to this discussion. I want to bring on 2 wonderful people, 2 incredible friends of mine, Dredger and Nick T. First and foremost, Dredger, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, happy to have you. Nick T, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, brother. Everything is going great.
Good. I'm happy to hear it. Dredge, I want to start with you, man. I mean, your thoughts on kind of my thoughts here that, like, hey, this is the biggest reason and maybe the only reason as to why the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime currently is on break.
It's a very interesting monologue topic that I don't think gets addressed enough. And you do make some really good points when the author of a show, the creator of a show passes. It's hard because you don't want to, take anything away from what they built. You don't want to make it anything different than it was. So by you saying that you think that it's the only reason, I don't know that's the only, I think it's a big contributor. I think it's probably 70-80% of the reason we're not just watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 right now and doing this show instead. I think, him having a say in the show and wanting it to be, he's the reason kind of Go Rush happened. We wanted to we wanted to make it younger, change the art style back to this. I love to hear that though, right? Because the concern was for the longest time, everyone's saying that like it's not, Takahashi wouldn't want this. There's only one Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. If this doesn't help people understand that all of Yu-Gi-Oh! is Yu-Gi-Oh! And was Kazuki Takahashi's work, I don't know what will. Because it's right there. The proof is in the pudding. It's said there. It's pretty straightforward with things like that. It's tough though, right? Because you have to think there's more ideas. But like, do you risk doing something that Takahashi wouldn't have liked? Did Takahashi have something in his will that said, "Oh, I don't want the show to continue," or "I only wanted to do this"? There's so many questions that we won't get the answer to until maybe we get a 9th show or there is an announcement from Konami. But overall, I like your monologue. I think you make some good points. I have to, if it's a agree or disagree with you, I agree with you. I'd say I strongly agree with you. I think a lot of the people who won't agree with this are maybe just a little stubborn in their beliefs because it's one of those things that I think it's pretty obvious when the reason it's such an abrupt stop, right? It's not like it was like, oh, we're figuring stuff out. Like, I mean, yes, they did end up saying that after the fact, but it wasn't their original thing. I think they were really trying like, what can we do? What would Takahashi want? And you can't ask him, right? And unfortunately, he did something heroic and he lost his life. And we can't go back on that. So now they have to be like, well, whatever we do now can either, hurt or improve his legacy, right? That's what it would do because he is Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what he is, right?
Yeah.
He's what makes up Yu-Gi-Oh. So, I mean, I hope we get a Yu-Gi-Oh 9, and I hope it's done well. But I do think the reason that Konami is a little, as much as we hate on Konami, we joke Konami that it's all about the money, it probably does have to do with their creator. The reason Yu-Gi-Oh was such a big IP as it is, that he's gone, they need to really address the situation and do the best they can. So I would say I agree with your monologue for sure.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, do other people have ideas for another show? I'm sure somebody does, but I have to imagine you probably get paralyzed in a situation like that because there's so many choices. It's like, well, do we take some time off like to honor him? And that could very well be what's happening right now. In fact, that is something that the specific person that I showed the DM of said, right? He said it could be that they're maybe just taking like a year off to kind of honor his legacy and then they're going to go back to it. But there's so many options now, and without that one solid guiding voice that was always there and was always supportive of these shows, and to act like he wasn't, I think is just doing him a disservice. I remember the very first episode that Vrains aired, he posted a photo of a cake with Yusaku's face on it, so he was always supportive of these shows, even if he wasn't working on it directly. But yeah, I mean, like, do other people have ideas? I'm sure they do, but it's just like a really tough situation, I would have to imagine. Nick T, I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, so I just want to say first and foremost, without just derailing the conversation, that you totally lost me with the first analogy.
What do you mean?
I wasn't following at all, man.
I let it go.
The kid smoking behind the Applebee's or
If you don't. Well, no, hold on. You don't know what is causing the fire. You don't know what actually is causing the smoke to appear. And so when you're driving on the highway and you see the Applebee's, the beloved spot for half apps past 10 p.m. is ablaze, you're like, what the hell happened? And that's like the whole conversation with Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. What the hell happened?
I mean, sure. I think it was just such an abstract. And it's not a universal analogy.
All right.
Okay. I think okay.
All right.
But pretty wild. With that being said, I completely agree with the point. Yeah, I think, of course, as with anything, behind the scenes, I think there are a lot of different facets at play. But I think Takahashi's passing probably has a lot to do with one, why we don't have a Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, and two, like, uncertainties with the company and maybe production issues, whatever the case may be, even though, like, he may not be directly involved, like you said, like, in all these things, I think his creative force, his presence, I think alone, and the loss of that could cause one to falter. With that being said, I actually think, though at the not nearly the same scale, I think the Disney analogy actually really works. I think we're, possibly seeing that at a smaller scale, where maybe we won't get, a whole, how many was it, 30 years of like a flop era?
It was about 30 years. Yeah, it was a long time.
I remember looking at Nicole and I had a discussion about this before, and you can like see like the movies that were coming out during that time and just like the financial unsuccess of the company, and not just creative lack of success of the company, and I think we could be potentially seeing that at a smaller scale. So maybe that's why a pause or like a misstep in content. Maybe that's why we're getting only a Chronicles a month or however long, and no announcement or nod towards a Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, even though I do firmly believe we will be getting one. It's just an undetermined timeline.
Yeah, well said. I mean, Disney, I use them as the example, at the top, because I think it's probably one of the more popular companies that everybody's heard of, maybe a little more popular than your local Applebee's. But, I think you could just look up dozens, if not hundreds of examples of companies that were rocking, and then somebody at the top or the person at the very top either leaves the company or, something tragic happens, and then that company just totally falters. And you know,
100%.
that's not really going to happen with Yu-Gi-Oh. With the card game side is going to be fine because he wasn't really involved in that side, but it definitely makes you, I think, very nervous. At least it makes me very nervous when it comes to the anime side. You know, what's going to happen? I mean, the next 3.5 years that's going to be airing on television is the GX disaster. And, you know, I think that's what I call it. I call it the disaster. And, you know, that's really kind of a shame. And, you know, you have to hope that we get something. If we get a Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, you hope they're not waiting for that to end, because that's going to be a long wait. But, you know, who knows? Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. Dredge, do you have any final things that you want to add?
I think Nick T and I and we've all said it best. I mean, when the creator of a show goes and the creative minds are all there, it's like, well, is this what Takahashi would want? So, you know, I do believe we're getting Yu-Gi-Oh! 9. I would like it to be in 2026. I can't, you know, I wish I could tell you guys right here, right now, 2026 Yu-Gi-Oh! 9's coming. But hopefully they all can come together and you know, continue Takahashi's dream and legacy in a new show, hopefully within a year or two. That would be great, and I think all of us Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans here would be extremely excited for it, no matter what they do. And I think even that being said, as much as we keep saying no matter what they do, we'd love, they still have that pressure on their shoulders to make it something that Takahashi would be proud of. So as much as we're like, we'll take anything, we want it, they're not just going to rush into it. They clearly that's been clear. It's a run-on sentence. Clearly they want to make sure that this is the best thing for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise moving forward, because it will be the first start to finish Yu-Gi-Oh! That had nothing of him, you know, involved in necessarily. So yeah, it's going to might be a long time. Hope it's not, but we'll see.
Yeah, and
Well said.
very well said. And Nick T, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know the Dragon Ball, because that had been mentioned as well to me. That Dragon Ball's creator I know passed away, and I know he like hand selected the person that was going to kind of take over. But that franchise is kind of in a stalling period right now as well, isn't it?
To be honest, I have not followed
Okay.
much since after the end of Z.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I watched a bit of GT, but that's technically not canon anymore. So I believe so. There are people that would probably know better than I, but I believe he did hand select his successor. But still, yeah, I believe that to be true.
Yeah, and you know, it's just, I don't know, man. It's like stuff like this. It's horrible to think about, because, you know, I was in the same room with Takahashi, and I have that video. Oh, so were you, Nick T. I mean, we were both in the same room with him after after the Dark Side of Dimension screening a very long time ago, and he was such a nice guy, and like it's you know, obviously he died a hero. But man, it always just makes me very sad just thinking about the whole situation, you know. And for, you know, it doesn't even like this short compiles onto it, but like even before then, like it's just when you really think about the way that he went out, I mean, you can't like it exemplified how selfless and I think incredible of a guy that he truly was, you know. And I think those are big shoes to fill. And if that's any indication of how he probably was professionally as well, and how influential he was on the franchise decades after his baby Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters came to an end, I think it speaks volumes. They're huge shoes to fill. And I think that's why we're kind of in a bit of a creative paralysis right now when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, you know?
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah, even if it's not him directly, I think that kind of presence needs to be the presence is the shoes that needs to be filled, you know, because as I've said a few times now, it's like, yes, he didn't have it, you know, complete hands-on any of the Rush anime, but he has had a presence, and I think that is extremely important, like some kind of guiding force, you know, as a sort of a flagstaff for all of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we'll just wait and see what happens. But you know, I really wanted, And obviously these monologues will probably be videos either for Thursday or Friday after. I really just wanted to make a video. Like I was going to make this video after I spoke to the person in New York City that told me this. And again, you can just, I know it's like, oh, you know, he knows his uncle works at Konami, you know, no, but like, you just got to trust me. I mean, he does. I mean, the two of you know that I have good connections on both sides. You know,
is true.
You can just take my word for it. I'm not going to reveal any names or anything, but like both of the messages I showed you and this person, I mean, they're people that know what they're talking about. And if they both said the same thing, that like, hey, the company doesn't really know how to move forward, that's the reason. And you know, you want to really get into like conspiracy, maybe not conspiracy territory, but interesting discussion territory. Takahashi passes away in July of 2022. Go Rush had just started. Remember, Go Rush got a third year unexpectedly. They even said that in the interview, right? Oh, it was the fan support. We weren't originally going to do 3 years. Part of me wonders if they got a third additional year, not only because of like fan support. I don't want to say that they're like lying about it, but I wonder if another reason was like they wanted to buy another year of time to try to figure out, hey, how the hell do we move forward after this without the guy that's given us guidance on this for the last 20 years? Like you can start to even have that conversation as well. I think that's really interesting because we know for a fact Go Rush was always supposed to be 2 years. I don't want to take away anything about like fan support, but like that could have been another element there that was at play in the decision. So I mean, you know, just
yeah, definitely.
Just interesting there. But I would love to know what people think about it. I'll be looking forward to reading comments back. And do we have any donations or super chats?
We do have one on our end and one on your end. We'll start with Tyler DeBoer becoming a member for 20 months.
Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you, dude.
Raw Yellow. Also, with Takahashi's passing, there's a chance there's a legal limbo state with certain rights. On a positive note, Mitsuko still #1 Go Rush character.
There is,
Never
Tyler.
fails.
Yeah, you know what? No, you gotta bring up Mitsuko, of course. Tyler, first of all, thank you for being
always brings up Mitsuko.
Yeah, and he's got it. Thank you for being a member for 20 months. And there is always a chance that like there are certain rights issues. And I asked this person specifically. I did not ask the person over at Studio Bridge, but I did ask the person that I was at a bar with a month or two ago that works at Konami in New York City about like, could there be any sort of rights issues with his passing? And he said he felt that was pretty unlikely. He said he felt like that was probably not the case. But again, that is hearsay. I mean, he was like, I mean, I don't know, but probably not. He had just kept reiterating that rumor that he heard from his contact over in Japan that like, they're just not sure what to do. But it's certainly possible. I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that like maybe there is some sort of legality issue. The only reason he doesn't strike me as a guy that would say, you know, like in his will or something like, oh, if I like pass, I don't want the anime to continue. And you know what? If that was there, I feel like they would have just said, hey, it's over. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason to keep the door open if they know legally that they will never have the rights to the show again. I really do think they would have just said, hey, Go Rush is it. But I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, it's
hard to know. There's a lot going on that we're not going to know about, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
I mean, your story suddenly becoming fishy because you said you were at a bar in New York.
That's the part that makes it fishy.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Yeah. I outside of that, I know I actually do tend to believe that like it might not be a rights issue just because he, as far as I understand, was like not hands-on with the Go Rush. Like it wasn't his exact. I mean, I guess Yu-Gi-Oh as an IP, but again, we can't necessarily go by U.S. IP laws, and you know, I'm not exactly sure how that works.
Yeah, I think Konami's
he
probably
wasn't
the
writing
rights. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. And he hasn't written, I don't think, since Duel Monsters. Now he's had like influence on storylines, and he helped with Yuma's design for Zexal. Like I'm sure people working on the show have probably used him as a resource. Like, hey, how do you think we should do this character? Hey, I'm sure there was a lot of like consulting going on with the literal creator, the father of Yu-Gi-Oh behind the scenes.
Sure.
But
Had to be.
I'm sure there was. But like, yeah, I just don't think that there's any legality holds up. But I have seen that as a possible theory, and we just don't know. I mean, we just don't know. Like it's fascinating, right, to think about. But that's why the interview last week was so interesting to me, because up until that interview, we had no idea that he was the reason that it went from Master Rule to Rush. We had no idea that Takahashi had anything to do with that decision. It turned out that it was his recommendation. And that to me was, it inspired the monologue with the talking point. I mean, it was massive. He was really such a heartbeat and pulse for the anime, well beyond Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, well beyond it. And it's commendable. Dark Emperor J. Nick T, please.
I just had one other thing, not to harp on the legality thing, but maybe as some insight into maybe how Konami may conduct business. I know, like, as a frame of reference, the Metal Gear Solid series, which was written by Hideo Kojima, and put out through Konami. When it came to Metal Gear Solid 5, there were some disagreements, creative disagreements, and in the end, Kojima either was fired or departed from the company, and his name was taken off, or I think he requested it, but his name was taken off that game.
It was taken out of the credits. Yeah.
No longer with it, but like, it was his creation. He was the writer, of Metal Gear Solid. So, for them to be still able to put out that game, and I know that it's different.
It's a great point.
Different than Death, but I do tend to believe that Konami as a company probably has a pretty darn good grasp with their legals and rights ownership.
And by the way, with one of, if not their most profitable IP in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's well said.
I have to imagine that they have a pretty good stranglehold of that IP.
Konami does not have a history of being a creators like company. Like, oh yeah, work with them. They're gonna really support you. You'll keep a lot of the rights. I mean, come on.
Like, we'll produce it. We'll give you the money. We'll give you a blank check, maybe.
Right.
But it is ours. Yeah.
You're selling it. It is ours.
You're done.
Yes. Yeah. So I fully agree with that. Dark Emperor J, thank you for the $2 donation. Random question: what was worse experience with other drivers on the road? For example, cutting you off or crashing into you. Well, I mean, I have so much road rage, but I haven't been. God forbid. I mean, thank God, not God forbid. I haven't been in an accident in a very, very long time. I think, I don't know. I'm already getting annoyed at the question. Not because it's a bad question, but because the question just triggers me in a road rage type of way that just aggravates the hell out of me. Do you guys have any good stories?
I mean, I drive every day, and every day I really question how people get driver's license. It's just every day, man. It's nothing new.
My favorite. Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it doesn't surprise me anymore.
My favorite, Nick T, before you go, my favorite passive aggressive thing, if somebody like is tailgating me or they make a move to get around me and they're speeding, I always roll down the window. Yep, I stick my hands out the window and I clap, and they love that.
Oh, you're such a passive.
And I clap.
I won't lie to you, he's gotten really lucky. No one's got out of the car and beat the crap out.
Well, it happens on the Garden State Parkway. I mean,
Dylan makes sure they're going fast enough so
you're clapping at them. They're like,
the guy.
I'm clapping them. I'm cheering them on. They made a great move.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure, Dylan. That's
wonderful move.
Oh my God.
I experience idiocy on the road on the regular, but recency biased. Was it yesterday or the day before? I had a infuriating moment. Leaving work, there is a light that usually builds up quite a bit of traffic because there's incoming traffic getting off of Route 18 and merging with this one road that goes to a light, and then there's incoming traffic from the road that's trying to turn left at the light, and everybody's kind of merging into two lanes. It's a mess, but because of that, some people think that they can just go around all of it. So I had a person yesterday, as we're all waiting to approach this light and turn left, get into the shoulder, pass through all the half the cars that were trying to turn left, and then merge back left.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they
that's-
let her
that's
do
the
that.
most-
And I when I tell you, I probably leaned on the horn for about 25 seconds.
Oh my God.
Um,
Nick T was not having it.
yeah, I was not happy. And then like I also get on 8 because you turn left at the light, you get on 18 South, and
Yeah, 18 South.
I
I
see
can
her on.
picture where you are, bro. I know.
Yeah,
where
you
are
you know
right
you
now.
know exactly where I am.
That spot's
And
miserable.
I'm speeding on 18. I'm looking. I see her, and I'm
Looking
like,
for her.
I'm trying to get a look at her.
What does
and
she
then
look like? What does she look like?
she's just a lady, but like completely. She didn't look angry. She didn't look like an aggressive driver. She was totally chill, going
Yeah,
like
dazed.
85 on
They're always dazed.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I was shocked. I'm like,
Damn.
wow, this person they're just, yeah. It was.
Yeah.
I was furious though.
Bad drivers drive me freaking nuts, dude. And we all live in New Jersey, which, if you don't know, is the most densely populated state in the United States of America. And so, what does that mean? It means there's a hell of a lot of cars on the road, and it's infuriating. It really is.
Oh my god.
We have top 5 best characters in Go Rush coming up next. Elaine, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Hi, Dylan, Dredger, and Nick T. Today is my birthday. I went out for lunch and went bowling with my little brother. What is your guys' least favorite Yugioh duel? Well, let's sing Elaine a happy birthday. Elaine.
Oh, this is gonna be a mess.
Well, no,
This
it's
is
fine.
great.
Follow my lead. 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elaine. Happy birthday to you.
Oh my god.
I think that was
How
pretty
is that
solid.
bad? Yeah, you just had to follow me along
was
in
good.
Discord.
I was
Yeah,
following along.
the latency with all that.
No,
I
it was
mean,
good.
I
It
think
was great.
you, Dredger, and myself, we were probably about a whole second apart each. And my god, that I don't know what it sounded like to them, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, listen, that's just how the birthdays are going to be now.
Yeah, it's how birthdays are gonna be. But
Elaine, thank you so much for the bits and happy birthday. My least favorite Yugioh duel is probably Yugioh Sashida Glot.
my least favorite
Least
Yugioh
favorite.
duel. Oh God.
The Sheeta Glot's actually a really good one.
Thank you.
Yugioh's duel with Chupatara, right?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible. I can't.
I think he did, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he didn't. It's
I
been
know
a long
Yuumu
time, man.
dueled him
That's
at
like
the beginning.
early. Someone's gonna tell me I'm wrong and he didn't duel. If he didn't duel, then I'll stick with Ishida Glop. But otherwise, Yugioh's
yeah.
For sure.
I will say this, even if he did, I think I can like take like joy in being and like hating that, like oh, it's funny like to hate Chupataro,
Yeah.
but like man, like the Ishida Glot one, I was like, what are we doing? So that's my vote, even if he did duel Chupataro.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Do we have? I think we have one more. We can do one more, and then we will get to the top 5 best characters in Go Rush. Dark Emperor J, thank you for the $2 donation. Do you think it's possible Takahashi wanted it to change after seeing what the Link Shock did? To me, it's possible, but I could be wrong. I definitely think I think anything's possible. I mean, he saw something with Vrains and maybe Arc 5 as well, and was like, yeah, this has to change. And I'm not saying that as like he thought Vrains was like a bad show. I don't want people to take that, but he obviously saw something. And you know what? It kind of coincides with what Masahiro Hikakubo had said. Hikakubo's been the duel writer for every single Yu-Gi-Oh show, and he said writing duels in Vrains, he basically said it was miserable. That like writing the duels for Soulburner was so difficult because of all the Salomon Great combos that he had to do, that it was like the most difficult thing he's ever had to do in his career. And I'm sure they probably talked because they worked on Duel Monsters together. And Hikakubo was probably saying to Takahashi, like, dude, the game is ridiculous. I mean, I am a grown-ass man trying to figure out the combos in what's supposed to be like a game for like teenagers and kid. And dude, it's unreal like what the game is at now. So to think that maybe he thought the game had gotten so complicated and maybe it was more of a game thing than an anime thing, I think that's certainly wholly possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree that it's definitely possible. I mean, just like, even because I personally enjoy Vrains, but that beginning, man, when all the links, and then I can see why the Salomon Great deck is so diverse isn't the right word. So methodical. There's every little thing you do has an effect, and it just like he was probably trying to speed it up at some point. He's probably like, how can I make this freaking faster? This is ridiculous. It's taking forever. So definitely could have affected a lot. I don't think it's the main thing, but definitely adds on to it a little for sure.
Nick T, what do you think?
I definitely tend to believe it's also a game thing, and that's just like from a top-down view of it, like, and not to distill the anime in any way, but to like say that it is a vehicle to get more cards sold or to popularize the cards and create a media around them. There comes a point, and the game reached a point where it's like the barrier of entry is so high unless like one, you've been playing since childhood, or you're an adult to pick this game up and consider like the complexities of it. Thinking back, like if it was as complicated as it had gotten, and I was a kid picking it up when I had, but I don't know if I would be able to. And I think he probably saw that and said, "Well, I think we need some kind of reset and allow children to put the games back in the hands of the children."
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good way to say it for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I love the screen of whatever picture that was.
Yeah, well, no, I'm trying to cue something up that I improperly cued. It's the old scene switch. You know what I mean?
Jeez.
But I queued it up improperly. All right. I think I know how to fix it. Okay. Top 5 characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Dark Emperor J, thank you for the donation. Coming up right now, we're going to start with Dredger and with Nick T. He is the Maestro. Hey, Maestro.
Let's hear it for the Maestro.
Encore, Maestro! Encore!
Hey, Maestro. He is
I wish
the
I could
Maestro. All right, Nick T, we're starting with you, my man. Nick T, where are we putting at number 5?
Oh, wait, okay, hold on.
No.
Without having heard it
Makes it
and
better.
just seeing the visuals, what was that?
It was your lead-in, man. We did it for King Pete last week. We did it for the Maestro this week.
Okay, but what was it?
it was a bunch of sound clips hyping you up.
Aren't you hyped, Nick T? You should feel hyped, man. Come on.
I do feel pretty hyped.
It's an incredible lead-in, man.
You're gonna have to screen share that when we're done with this because I need to see it.
I know you're very against watching videos on this channel. You could watch it back.
All right, wait. What's
Hey,
all right?
hey, I
fine.
love that. That's in bad.
What's the time? What's the timestamp? How far in are we?
I think we're about 43 minutes in.
43 minutes. Okay.
Nick T, the
Someone remind me of that.
Maestro, take it away. Top 5 in Go Rush. Number 5.
Number 5, Yuumu. My number 5 is Yuumu. I just think she started off as such a strong character at the beginning of the show with, sort of being this almost guiding force in duels and in all the scenarios where she had the answer for everything. And even though she did have a brief fall off, I think her like rise to power with the Dark Meister really just put her right back in within the top 5 almost immediately. And I just really love how her character played out in the final arcs.
And is she best girl for you, Nick T, in Go Rush?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a little bit of a spoiler, but that's okay. That was a trick question. I'm kidding. Nick T.
Why did you ask me?
I'm
There's
kidding.
no way that's
The Maestro. What's number 4? What are you cooking up?
I'm the Maestro.
Yeah, what are you cooking up at number
what's
4?
number
Oh,
4?
I thought we were doing. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing
Bro.
Dredger. My bad.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
You threw me off by reintroducing me. Number 4 is Quaidul.
Okay, my number 1. Wow.
Yeah, I do love him. I think I think my top 3 will probably be not super surprising to anyone, but I think as far as Quaidul being in 4th, like maybe he didn't. I don't know. I think he was a little wishy-washy in the last parts of the show, to be honest. A little unclear as to not his goal, but like our interactions with him as a character. But I mean, having him as the narrator and then revealing him as like one of the main antagonists was just class. It was incredible. He was cool. His duels were cool. I just really loved him.
All right. And number 3, your bronze.
My bronze is Yugioh. Yugioh.
All right. Pro tag at number 3. Love it.
Pro tag at number 3. I loved him. I mean, he with a consistently positive attitude, ride or die for his friends. He for a lot of the show really carried it in terms of energy and support. If not a little naive, but an excellent character nonetheless.
Okay. Now, I do want to ask before we reveal your top 2, do you have a shocker on there? Like, to me, I think most people's top 5s probably are comprised of the big 3 Velgirians, Yugioh, Yugioh, Quaidul, and then the twins. Do you have a surprise on there, or do you have... No, you do not. Okay, so then...
No surprise.
Who is your number 2, and who... Well, let's start with number 1. Who is the best character in Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush?
You want to start with number 1?
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Let's do number 2.
Oh. Okay.
No, it's up to you. I mean, you run the show.
Well, you know what I mean. Number 2 will reveal number 1.
Number 2 will reveal number 1. Probably, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do 2. We'll do 2.
Who's 2? Who's 2?
2 is Yugioh.
Okay.
I mean, come on, dude. The most effortlessly cool character.
Nick T. Nick T, we're having some audio issues.
Oh, really? I'm so sorry.
We're good now. We're good now. Now it's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, the most effortlessly cool character in the show. There is not a thing I really don't like about this character, except for the fact that maybe his intentions were a little hazy as we get to a certain point. But otherwise, wait.
No, you're good.
Oh, it seemed like the stream was having an issue for a moment, but I think we're good.
Okay.
Yes. No. I think just Yugioh he's an excellent duelist. He's an excellent character. Definitely by far the coolest character of the show to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, love it. And then your number 1, Nick T.
This shouldn't be of any surprise to anyone. I've hyped this character up relentlessly. It's Yuhi. It's Yuhi.
Interesting.
Love it.
I just think. I mean, the best character arc. If you ask me, the best character arc throughout the whole show. Just seeing him go from like naive, childish, not learning the game, but starting to become good at the game, to like just being a strong leader, being a strong duelist, becoming like, at some points, the main character, kind of giving Yugioh a backseat much of the time. I just love Yuhi. Even when he falters, it's humanizing for him to me.
Yeah, no, I love it. You know what? And your number 1 is a character I did not have even in my top 10, top 5.
Oh,
I was gonna say
no.
I was gonna reach through this computer.
Yeah, no. Not having him in the top 10 would have been incredibly disrespectful. I would not do that. But yeah, he was. I mean, he just missed. He was 6 for me. But no, love it, dude. Our lists are pretty. It's funny because they're similar. Like, right, Yugioh and Yugioh being 2 and 3 are the same. Yuumu is ranked pretty much the same. And then I'm curious, is Asaka even close to your top 5? And you can be honest.
She's probably in the top 10, but
okay.
I would say she's in the back half of that.
Yep. Okay. Fair. Great list, Nick T. Now, Dredge, we're bringing it with Dr. Dredge. Number 5, Dredge. Who are we doing?
Oh boy, number 5 on my list is Yuhi.
Okay. All right. Just got in.
So I think Yuhi I think Nick T made some good points. Yuhi had a great character arc. He does start off very slow. He's very childish. And again, he is a kid. That's kind of how it is. He has some good moments. He takes the fall for his sister to become Otis. He does some really good things in the show, but I just don't think he warrants any higher than 5 for sure.
I would agree with that.
That's valid.
Dredge, number 4.
Number 4, my favorite female character in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, Yuumu.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Asaka.
Yeah, no,
No.
you. Sasuke is about 7. If I'm being honest with you. Sasuke's
Yeah,
about
that's
7.
a fair number. By the
I
way.
think that's fine.
So Yuumu, probably one of my favorite and most well-treated female characters in all of Yu-Gi-Oh. Her season 1 was absolutely awesome. I love season 1 Yuumu. Season 2 of Yuumu is when she kind of, she just, I don't know, it was a regression for her. She didn't do much. Season 3, her kind of character change, as Dylan put it, she was lost in space for years. She got lonely. He'll sell that, which I love.
She knew what was
And
happening.
She becomes, she knew it was, not gonna let you get away with that, but okay. Darkmeister, that kind of, but then, letting her brother, not letting, I shouldn't say letting, Yui took that from her, that ability to become Otis, but she had such resolve for her ancestor in Yuga. She just out snatches that spot from Yuhi. They both did well. The twins did a great job in this show. But yeah, it's probably the highest I have any female character in a Yu-Gi-Oh ranking for sure. Though all the shows I've watched, I don't think I have any other female character in my top 5 for sure, and all the other Yu-Gi-Oh shows. I've watched.
Now I think you might be forgetting one. Roman in 7s.
I was gonna say.
Well, that's other than in a non-rush era, but
Fair.
Roman for me in 7s. I don't know if we ever did those. We definitely did. I want to say I said she was 5, but I don't remember. That someone Elaine can fact check me for sure.
At the lowest.
Yeah.
But I still think Yuumu would be higher. And if I had to pick between the two of them, I like Yuumu better than Roman, which I know is probably a hot take. So
It is a hot take, but I can see it.
Yeah, I remember
can
I
see it.
ran a poll and it was like very close to 50-50 with the two of them. I think community's pretty split on which one they prefer. So I feel like that's not too crazy to say. But
I
yeah.
feel like partially because I'm not musically talented, I don't relate as much to Roman. Whereas like the Yuumu, the scientific, the overthinking, the analyzation, I relate more to that. You could ask Nick T. I couldn't play a freaking recorder, so it's
I don't believe that.
No,
I don't
couldn't,
believe
dude.
that.
I can't do it. Can't do it.
All right, Dredge, who's getting top? No, I'm very interested.
Yeah,
Dredge.
my top 3 is probably gonna shock. Not shock, but it's definitely gonna.
That makes me think that you don't have the big 3 Vulgarians.
No,
here.
I do.
Okay.
I think it's the order of them. I think no one has my order that we've seen on this talking Yu-Gi-Oh show. So I think that's gonna be the exciting part for us. So
I love it. What's number 3?
Kawaii Duel.
Okay.
Now, the only reason Kawaii Duel is this low is only because of the amount of time he spent on the show. If he spent another arc or 2, I think he could easily be 1 or 2. I think the way that they make the narrator become like the narrator's voice this whole time was Kawaii Duel, the manipulation, the best Rush era villain by probably miles. It's not even close. And I like to take a character as their voice acting. The voice acting done, even his dueling style, the way he gets the most out of Udius. He gets Udius to be finally not be this. It's all rosy dozy, rainbows and butterflies. He gets him to actually realize that you need to make some tough decision to become a better person, a better character. Kawaii Duel is what makes Udius. The reason Udius is ahead of Kawaii Duel is because of Kawaii Duel. So Kawaii Duel is the 3rd best character in the show. I really enjoyed him when he was on screen. I just wish we got more of him on screen. Technically, he merged with Udius, so you could argue he is part of Udius. But him as his own character, he definitely fits that 3rd slot for me.
Yeah, no, I think that's all very fair points. So who is your number 2?
My number 2 character is the protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush.
Wow.
Udius.
Okay. Wow.
Udius is 2. I was extremely critical of Udius the entire show. I did not like the always happy, always naive. I didn't like that. I made that very clear. I do think that his development as a character, the decisions he made, his dueling, even the voice actor, the emotion that went into kind of when he was talking towards the end of the show, some of those scenes he had, they really captivated me, and I loved it. He's a great protagonist. He definitely might be he's close to the middle of all my protagonists. He's probably in like around that 4 to 5, maybe 5 range, maybe 6 range. I don't know. I have to look at that. But for this show, he's what makes Go Rush Go Rush. Again, Kawaii will help make him a great character, but Udius, When I think of Go Rush, I'm thinking of two characters, and he's the second one on that list.
Who's the other one?
Number one character in Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, Yugioh.
Yeah.
The only reason that I actually had to think about this, the only reason is because of how poorly he was in Season 3. What's scary to me is that even though I didn't like him very much in Season 3, I still think he's the best character. Just this character's aura when he came on screen, the voice acting, the way that he knew what he wanted and went for it. Now, he lost. He didn't get what he wanted, but again, his resolve, right? Him questioning Yumu's resolve, even his interactions with Yuhi, his interactions with Udius being commander. If Yugioh didn't give you chills when he was on screen, I don't know what to tell you, because he gave me chills. Loved Yugioh. I would die in a hill for Yugioh. Man's amazing.
You'd go to war for Yugioh.
I would go to war for Yugioh. Yeah. Yugioh is him. Yeah, even with Season 3, with his something, which we made fun of him, and I was like, what's happening to this guy? But deep down, at the end, I think you have to take into account that he had served his purpose. He was just trying to do the best he could with what he knew, which, again, does take away from his character. But I still think, on this list, I still think he is him, as they would say. So Udius is number one on my top 5 best Go Rush characters.
I will say, I think at the end of the day, the fact that between Dredger and I having him at 1 and 2, and neither of us really loving his Season 3, just proves that vibe just really triumphs over over character development.
Aura and hype moments.
It really does, man.
Yeah.
To a degree, for sure.
Hang on, I also despised his Season 3, and he's in my top 3 as well. Yeah, no, that's the point. That's the point.
You're right. You're right. I should include you in that, because you having him at 3. Yeah, it's like, Season 3 wasn't good, but he just shows up on screen, and you're like,
oh man,
yes.
He's on screen. I'm more interested in what happens.
So
I'm just more interested in what is Yugioh going to do this time, because every time he's on screen, I'd argue the two guys, him and Kawaii Duel, and the reason Kawaii Duel is as low as he is, he just wasn't on screen enough for me at the end. I wish we saw more of him. But him and Yugioh, when they got on the screen, you were like, all right, I'm locked in. What's happening? Tell me what's next. So
precisely.
Yeah, for sure. So even all three of us had a terrible Season 3, and yet still easily a top 3 character.
By the way, I did our aggregate rankings for the top 5, and let me
I
know. I don't have visuals, but because I was doing this as you guys were explaining. Let me know if you think I'm wrong on this, but I believe our aggregate rankings between the three of us, Yuumu is 5, Yuhi is 4, because Yui's not pictured on mine, but he is 6.
Yeah, and I have him 5.
So I think 156 is better than 454 personally. So I think Nick T putting Yuhi 1 jumps Yuhi aggregately. So Yuhi's 4th, Kwai Duel is 3rd, Udius is 2nd, Yugioh is 1st.
That completely makes sense to me.
It's I mean, because it's funny that I like that we all Udius is 2 in both mine and Dylan's, but Udius drops a 3 in Nick T's, and he never makes first in any of them. So I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, and so I think aggregately he's 2nd, but Kwai Duel I think is Kwai Duel Udius 2-3 you could probably debate aggregately, but Yugioh's definitely 1. I mean, Yugioh's 1 for sure. It just shows how good of a character he was, dude. I mean, even with a rough final year, to still be in all of our top 3. And I don't know this for sure, because obviously they're not here with us right now, but I think if you asked Calibro and Pete, I think they would probably concur that Yugioh is somewhere in their top 3.
I would have to think so.
Laugh, because it should even go without saying for Pete, because Pete literally did a character where he was like not even questioning a single thing Yugioh was saying or doing. Like, he was like,
oh my god,
riding hard.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
Now we got into a little bit of an argument, me, Pete, and Caliber last week. Last week when we and I, by the way, I've thought about it and I maintain this, and you two can let me know your thoughts on it. We did top 5 strongest duelists last week. Duty Nishaw deserves to be in the top 10. I have him 9th. He deserves to be in the top 10.
Nick, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I have a lot of it's complicated. It's complicated, right? Because
I feel like this would make for a great Jubilee video where there's 25 people sitting around me, and you've seen
and
those
you're the one,
and I'm the one, and that's my take,
yeah.
and people rush to debate me.
it's a complicated debate because like if we're looking at raw numbers, if we're looking at power rankings, his one duel is monumental, sure. Like
Sure.
it actually does. It almost gives him that spot for me. But if we're looking at like actual dueling prowess and number of duels dueled, yeah, I feel like to be included in a list, you have to have like a minimum duel count. You can't just be like, I won my only duel, so that makes me top 10.
That is a counterpoint that gets brought up a lot, but then it's impossible to power rank some villains that have only dueled once.
No, you're right. You're right. But
It's
I
tough.
think this one I can't. I can't in good conscience back that. But I can see the point from like an objective standpoint.
I will say I'm happy you can see the point. I will say when you start looking at the characters that you could potentially put ahead of him, which I have, like the Lug and Zion, and you look at the results that they've had, none of their wins are more impressive than Duty Nishaw's win against Yugioh, and they have losses. Duty Nishaw does not. That's the only point.
Yes.
But Dredge, what do you think?
So I mean, like, here's the
hate
thing, Bill. Like, who's behind him that would annoy me that he's at 9? Just give me your 10 and 11. And
My
just
10
so
is
I can-
Otis. I don't think you'd argue that Otis deserves to be
I mean,
higher.
I'm actually glad you don't have him higher. Who's your you have an 11? Your honorable mention? Like,
I didn't make any honorable mention. It's probably Zion or the Lug.
Okay, Zion or Luke. You have Zion below him?
I do, because Zion only beat one
Still.
character, dude. They have the same amount of wins.
Man.
So how can you argue Zion's better than him?
He's right. Who did Zion beat?
I'm assuming you have Manabu ahead of him.
Manabu I have ahead of him. The big three in the Twins I have ahead of him. I have Manabu ahead of him. I have Phaser ahead of him.
Asaka.
I do not have Asaka ahead of him. Zion's only win was against the Lug.
So you don't have Zion, Luke, Asaka. What about Tremolo?
Tremolo I do not have ahead of him, no.
You're shot, dude. There's so many better.
Tremolo? Did
You're
Tremolo?
shot.
Hold on.
You're still shot. He's really analyzing. He's looking into this.
Yeah, because I don't think. I mean, my brain is like fried. It's been a very long day, so I don't want to misspeak. But I'm gonna pull up Tremolo's stat sheet here. By the way, the Asaka one, she beat Old Man Townsend, Ron, and Zion. Those are her
That's
only
3
wins.
That's 3 wins.
It's 3 wins, but which one's better than his win against Yugioh?
all 3 combined are better because Yugioh lost to a cheat.
Oh, it wasn't a cheat. It was a
Duty
coin
Nisha was
flip.
cheating.
It was part
No,
of
he
it's a
was
mechanic. Dude, Nisha was
It
not
his
cheating.
FaceTime. What do you mean it's cheating?
He was
literally
not-
paused time.
He paused time to think about it. It didn't affect Yugioh. If he was doing a human,
but
you
it
could make
does,
that
though.
argument.
Bro,
No,
you saw the
Yugioh was
twins
fine.
aging.
Well, yeah, it affected the
Dude.
twins. They're humans.
Dude, it doesn't matter. That'd be like. Dude,
By the
that'd
way,
be like if it's
Tremolo also dueled Yugioh and did not win.
So that doesn't mean anything. Just because a character didn't beat Yugioh doesn't mean he can't be ahead of a character that did beat Yugioh.
I would argue with that as long as the other wins are there to support.
Well, Tremolo was just me a shot in the dark, so I'll give you that one.
Tremolo
was a
did
shot
beat
in the dark.
Yuhi, to be fair, but
That's a pretty big deal. Yuhi, where's Yuhi in your ranking?
the problem is it's his only win. So if we're taking his only win
Love him.
versus Nishaw's only win,
I
Nishaw's
still don't think Duty Nisha should be 9, man. I still think whatchamacallit was cheating.
Nishan.
Yeah, Duty Nisha was
Gotcha.
cheating.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's
Gotcha.
I think it's a great debate. I think
Not
it's
a great debate.
I think it is a great debate, dude. I feel so confident in debating anybody on that take.
Because
Because there's nobody you can put ahead of him. There's nobody you can put. I don't think
I
there
named
is.
8 people, I think, but
Named 8 people.
I mean, Dredd, you the characters you named for the most part are like he said the twins and the big 3.
Twins, big 3, that's 5, right? Twins, big 3, that's 5.
Yep.
I'd argue.
When
you
I
could
say
put
ahead of him, I
Washington-
mean ahead of him at number 9.
Yeah, you mean like 1 through 8.
No, I'm fine with 1 through 8. I think after that, there's
Oh, you
nobody.
mean like 10 and 11?
Yeah, there's nobody.
I'd argue Zion was a better. Like, here's the thing. Like, I
don't
think
know.
you're just. It's one duel.
But Zion
that he
won
happened-
once.
Doesn't matter. Just because he won, that doesn't matter, man. He's
But
a better
now
duelist.
we're valuing total duels over
We're valuing quality of
results.
duels. We're not. It's not just. It's
Sure.
not about results.
But I would argue his quality of duels was very good. He had one duel against
Yes,
the
'cause
main
he's
character
won.
and beat him.
Yes, but then there's that. There's like that thing of like he has one duel. At least we have characters that have 3 to 4 duels. They may not have won everyone, but they were quality duels in all 4. Right? It could be a one-off. Duty Nisha could be trash. He got lucky against Udius, right? Just like, hey, Dill, you said if you verse Yusaku 100 times, you'd win one.
Correct.
That was the one time Duty Nisha beat Udius, and there's 99 more times he would have lost.
In context, though, he was explained to be at the same power level of a Udius and Yugioh being a commander of the fleet. So,
From a Valkyrian, from a warrior standpoint, I wouldn't argue a duelist because he didn't even know what rush dueling was at the time.
and that makes it more impressive, man. To pick up a Rush Duel deck for the first time and just go crazy like that, wow. Okay, this debate's over.
Even though you are
over.
trolling,
What do you mean it's over, bro? Oh my god.
I think it is time to move on. But I will say, even though I know you are trolling a bit, it is difficult to argue because of the quality of the duel. So I'll give you that, and we can move on.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Do not tune away, ladies and gentlemen. We have Pulse of the Community coming up in just about 10-15 minutes, where Dredger and Nick T are going to get some of their frustrations towards me out and read some community messages that might not be so friendly. And they might, we'll see. I don't know what they have in store, but based on last week, the section was a hit. My parents said it was their favorite segment from the show. So, that you can take away what you will there.
They're like clowning on you, bro.
Yeah, you can take away what you will there. Taking a donation break. Do we have any super chats or donations?
I think we do. I think Nick T's got a couple big ones for you.
Yeah, we have. We're gonna skip ahead with a couple
wow.
big ones right off the bat. We have $50 from That Man 666.
Wow, thank you so much, That Man. Thank you so much, dude. And he donated very generously like a couple of weeks ago. Thank you so much, That Man. We can get some hearts in chat for That Man. Thank you.
He's just like that. He said, one last super dono for a while. If Vrains was written akin to Mega Man Star Force and somehow failed, I would have given it a second option. Also, One Piece anime has started on Kuma's origin story. When you know, you know. Volume 109 coming in July.
I sadly don't know. I wish Latrell was here because I'm sure he would know. He's a big One Piece fan. But it is insane to me that story is still going. And I don't think there's any, it's not ending soon. I'm sure it will end at some point. But, One Piece is still going. It's crazy to me. That Man, thank you so much for the very generous donation. Can't say how much it helps me, how much it helps this channel out. Thank you so much. As for Vrains, Nick T, do you know that specific Mega Man game that he compared Vrains to?
So we briefly talked about this. I think
that was the same one from last week. Okay,
it is the one.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know it very well, but I do know it is a. If I'm thinking of the right one, actually, now I'm not so sure. I believe this is the one that is a follow up to Battle Network. Correct.
Those are games that I'm heavily thinking about playing and streaming at some point, maybe after the move. Because I feel like Mega Man's a series I'd like.
Yeah, I think.
Nick T, you're muted.
Am I still?
Nope, now you're
good. Star Force in both anime and in game are follow-ups to the game and anime of Battle Network.
Okay.
Battle Network is generally widely very beloved. Star Force is if you were into it, you love it. It's people like that game.
Well, it's kind of That Man kind of compared it a little bit to Vrains, or said if Vrains was written akin to it, but that's kind of like Vrains, right? Vrains does have its diehard supporters, as I would argue every Yu-Gi-Oh show does, to be honest with you. But, Vrains certainly has its diehards. I know That Man, not the biggest fan of Vrains, but, and that's fine, I
think that was his point, is that he, if it was like that, he would have gotten a second.
Maybe he meant opinion or second option. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he meant opinion, but yeah.
Cool.
Even if it failed, he would have been like, let me give this another shot.
Yeah. That Man, appreciate you very much. Thank you so much, dude. I know he said last Super Dono for a while, dude. You never need to Super Dono, and even if it's 5 years or forever, dude, I'm so appreciative for the donation tonight and all the donations you've given me over the years. Thank you so much, That Man. Can't tell you how much you've helped me out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, That Man.
Hell yeah, thank you. And then the next rather large dono is from Excel Hero.
Yeah,
I think I'm saying that right. It's 50 Canadian.
Yeah, Axel Hero, dude, you are the freaking man. Let's go. Thank you, Axel Hero. Axel Hero and That Man going back to back with the 50 Burgers. Thank you, boys, so much. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you. I do not deserve your support. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Man, a burger hasn't costed $1 in years.
Bro,
Me and Ivrea went to McDonald's, and I never go to McDonald's. It's my first time at McDonald's in probably like 4 years. We went like a couple weeks ago, and yeah, just to get like a couple of dude, it was like $18.
Don't even.
Dude, when did that happen?
I won't lie. You gotta get the app. The app, you get a lot of points and deals.
The app does help,
bro. The app is killer. The app's killer.
But,
But it is
even with the app, like the McDouble used to be $1. Used to be on the dollar menu, and I think we're at like
realize how good we had it, bro.
$2.49 or something for a McDouble.
We don't realize how.
I'm sorry, McDonald's. Inflation hasn't gone up that much. I mean, my
it's
God.
actually insane.
No,
it's insane, dude.
$1 to $5 burgers. Come on, man.
Well, I wouldn't say a McDouble's $5. A McDouble is like $2.49 now. No longer on the dollar menu though.
I know, but that's still like a 150% increase.
It is, yeah.
At least.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Dak's right. They raised prices to cover COVID and never went back down.
Well, yeah.
Still,
thank you, Axel.
I digress. Thank you, Axel. And he said, or they said, surprised that Takahashi wanted to go from Master to Rush. No doubt we'll get another series, but I think we won't go back from Rush to Master, which is fine because I like both of them. The earliest I could see them make a Rush movie is after 8 years. Wow.
So we're at 5 years technically, right?
Does he mean
years?
He might mean 8 years from today. I'll speak on this though. I'm not too surprised by it. I know a lot of people were, Axel Hero being one of them. I was not too surprised to hear the news that Takahashi was the one that wanted it to change, but I was like really kind of happy when that came out because one, it kills all the annoying troll comments that I've seen for 5 years of,
Love
Takahashi, it must hate what's happened to his friend. No, he was the one that wanted it to happen. So can we put those, annoying troll comments to rest? And number two, the reason why I wasn't too surprised is we saw a mini reboot version of this when 5Ds went to Zexal. He wanted a more, kid-friendly, appealing, I don't want to say kid-friendly show because Zexal really, especially the later half, really wasn't. Zexal got into some really intense stuff. But early on, they had the youngest protagonist. It was look at early 5D's color palettes. Look at early Zexal color palettes. It's night and day. The Zexal anime was very colorful. It was very bright. It was very, the protagonist was hyperactive. Like, it was a totally different vibe, and he was the one that really wanted that. And that's exactly what we got with Vrains to Sevens. I would say it was like a little more drastic because the anime style changed, right? The character design style changed, and the game changed. But we already saw like kind of a mini reboot of the anime franchise back when 5D switched to Zexal. So I feel like this was that just way more significant. But learning that he was behind it, it reminded me a lot of when we learned that he was the reason that like 5Ds went to Zexal, and he kind of every 3 shows, I guess he just felt like, hey, we need a little bit of a reboot here. So it is pretty cool. But yeah, I can't see another Master Rule show right now. Axel Hero. I think if we're ever going to get another show in the next like 2 or 3 years, it's got to be Rush. I still think the Rush game can greatly benefit from having an anime. And I no longer also believe they feel, there's no reason for an anime. Like I don't believe that. I'm fully of the belief from the people I've talked to that work at the company on the America and Japan side that they just don't know how to proceed. Not that they've come to the conclusion that an anime is pointless. Those are my thoughts on it. But Axel Hero, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the generous donation, man. You rock.
Thank you, Axel.
And then back to our regular rotation, if I'm correct. We have 5. Wait, did I? Oh, yes. $5 from Electric Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
He said, or I guess asked, Dylan, you believe Konami hated Vrains, and with Takahashi wanting to change to a new era, what do you think of the Master Rule 4/Vrains era as a whole?
I think when Takahashi told them to switch things, I think they probably were like, all right, let's immediately do it. Now I have a little more information knowing he was behind it. I think Konami, I don't know what it was. The reason I say this is half jokingly but half serious. It's the only show that never got a manga. We don't know the reason why that was the case. And it's the only show that clearly ended before it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Where it ended in
Anyone who's
September.
arguing that's crazy.
It ended 6 months clearly before it was supposed to. And so that's why I always joke like how they did not like Vrains. I don't know the reason for it, but they did not like Vrains. What do I think of the Master Rule 4 Vrains Hour as a whole? I don't think it was good, right? I think people look at like 2018, 2019 as a really 2017, 2018 as a really, really rough time for the card game. I think Link Shock was a very real thing. I watched Dark Emperor J's video on it. I definitely recommend that for those who want to know what that was. But yeah, I think for the card game, it was really bad to force people to link summon in order to like play other like monsters from the extra deck. I was not a big fan of Master Rule 4, and I'm happy they changed it, obviously. I think Master Rule 5 is good. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the card game Vrains Hour in like 2017, 2018. And I think a lot of people that played the card game a little more than me, I think they would probably agree with that.
Yep. Sounds fair.
Well said.
But Kevin, thank you for the super chat. But yeah, that's why I say what I say about Konami and Vrains.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Let me get back to the page. And we have $5 from Legendary Duels.
The man, JC. Thank you, JC. Thank you to Legendary Duels.
And he said,
well, Nick, what's going on over there, man?
Nicole's home from work. Hi. Can she say hi?
Sure, she can grab the mic.
Yeah, okay, come here. Come say hello.
Hi.
Hey, Nicole. All right,
Hey,
first
Nicole.
guest on the Talking
I think
Yu-Gi-Oh
this-
show.
First
Oh, you
guest,
can't hear
let's
them,
go.
but you're the first guest on this like iteration of the show. So congratulations.
Because he's on the podcast, I had to walk 20 minutes home in the rain.
No, hold on.
Oh,
Wait,
Nick
wait.
T. I didn't know that. Are you?
Can't believe. Wow, you really came on just to say that.
Nick
That's
got
crazy.
cooked.
Well,
That's
that's
crazy.
kind of a crazy
That's
comment.
crazy.
You got home in record time, for the record.
I mean, is the podcast more important than that, Nick T? Can you confirm or deny that?
I mean, with my earbuds in, I can confirm that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Don't
I hope
worry
Nicole
about
doesn't watch this back.
Nobody in that
it.
household
You
is
said,
watching
"Is
my
the
channel.
podcast more important?
No, I would. Why would you tell her? What a mistake.
Hey.
Okay. All
Anyway,
right.
yeah. We. Yeah, I did. So, Legendary Duels, Mr. JC, who hopefully
Yes.
is confirming his attendance. To,
Has he confirmed for Jump Festa?
He has not.
Can we
He has
confirm
not.
that? I remember when I
not.
asked, "Are you going to Jump Festa?" He said, "You're going to Delaware, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, and then he laughed and left. He was walking out of my house. It was after the podcast episode we did at the beginning of April. And he said, You're moving to Delaware, right? And I said, yeah. And he laughed and then left the house. So I did not get an answer.
That sounds like JC.
I did not get an answer. So hopefully we can get some RSVP there. I mean, really, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I hope so. And
Thank you, JC.
well, reading it now, it seems like that is not the case. So what he's got to say is, finally had more time to think of my top 5 Go Rush characters. Would love to share it on stream sometime. My list is very different.
Hey, maybe we will have
Very
a
different.
legendary
What?
duels call in. You know, we
not a bad idea. I like
eventually we want to set up I think Dak has already set up a Google phone line where people will call in. That would like be a different segment that we do. I know this is the same 2 segments we did last week. I'm hoping maybe next week we can do a different one or maybe add a third, time permitting. So yeah, let's maybe get a call in segment where JC sends maybe a minute video in and gives his top 5 Go Rush characters and we critique it. I think that would be a lot of fun. JC,
Yeah,
we'll try to
excellent.
set that up, my man. We'll try to set that up. I think Legendary Duels being one of the first guests on this production is would work. I think it would work. That man has done a lot for me and he's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, seriously. And I know we toyed with the idea of having like someone call in through the Google line, or at least leave a voicemail through the Google line. And
Yeah, like
we play
for
it.
like a question. People can ask about a Yu-Gi-Oh question. Dylan, you said this in one of your videos. I think you're totally wrong. And it's like, yeah, let's have some fun.
Yeah. Excellent, and really add a a new variety to this variety show we have here.
Absolutely. We have one more donation read. That'll be our 5th, and then we're going to do Pulse of the Community.
Sure. For our 5th here, we have $2 from Light Dragon.
Light Dragon, thank you so much, my man. Frost Eagle. I don't know if you remember that name, but that is what he used to go by way back in the day. Yep.
And he said, it's simple. It's your homeboy from not Illinois. Hello, gamers.
He's from Oklahoma City. That's going to transition. Are the Knicks winning right now?
The Knicks are getting cooked.
Really?
Yeah, they're.
How does that transition us?
9 minutes left.
That's brutal. Because it was a basketball thing. I actually don't know if he's from OKC. I just know he's from Oklahoma. Light Dragon, thank you so much.
He was from OKC. They're not in this game.
I know, but I just wanted to know the Knicks score.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
He knew I could pull it up quick.
Boys and ladies and gentlemen watching, it is time for Pulse of the Community.
Doctor, he has no pulse.
Oh no.
It's time for the pulse of the community. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. The first comment, I already had one up. I'm going to pull that away. Nick T. Dredger, you're reading the first comment. I'm sorry.
He's number 1.
Okay, Dredger, reading the first comment. Dredger, are we starting with a nice one or a mean one?
We are not starting with a nice one. We are starting with one from the 10 Red Eyes monsters never used in the anime.
Okay.
Idiot puts the Synchro and XZ version of Red Eyes on the list. Completely forgets that both cars are released way after the timeline of the original series in GX.
So yes,
Dylan, how do you feel about this?
Well, yeah, this is a video where I went over 10 cards that were not used in the anime of a certain archetype. I think the first one I did this for was Odd Eyes, because you had like Vortex Dragon and Gravity Dragon that were not used. And I decided to do that for other archetypes like Blue Eyes, Red Eyes. And I did that for Red Eyes, 10 Red Eyes that were never used in the anime. And that, of course, would include Red Eyes cards that were printed after the anime. And I guess this is something that the user did not
I think this user believes
that's the whole point of the video.
I think this. I'm just saying. I think this user believes that GX and DM are the only real Yu-Gi-Oh shows. That's what I think I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at right now. They're like, oh, it's only DM and GX. Anything else is you're crazy. There's nothing else.
He's got a point, I guess, right?
Okay, Nick T, maybe you have a nicer one. Nick T, what's next?
It might not be. We'll see. Actually, it's nice in nicer in some regard, I guess.
Okay,
an idiot, but I always love when Dylan makes these kind of dramatic quote, everything is going to change videos, because he falls flat on his face every single time when it turns out to be nothing. Ghost Girl event teasing a crossover anime was a big nothing, and he has been insisting Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 is coming for the past 3 Jump Festas and has had to eat his words every single time. Keep eating the clown you use something else.
Well, reread that last sentence, Nick T, because it totally cut out at the end.
I'm so it said, keep being the clown you are, Dylan. It at least gets you views, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, okay. Right. First of all, this comment would have been really good if it wasn't, inaccurate. I have not been insisting Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 is coming for the past 3 Jump Festas. Certainly the past 2. But you know what really riles me up about a comment like this? Every single person that's in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime space was not expecting the anime to just end and be over in the year 2025. And anybody telling you that in hindsight is either lying or they're part of like the 1% of people. But because I'm the person that makes content on the internet, I've got to bear the brunt of it whenever this happens. And also, I love the message, he falls flat on his face every single time when it turns out to be nothing. I love it because he didn't say it always turns out to be nothing.
Because he knows you've been right.
But people love, and I learned this after, we didn't get a Yu-Gi-Oh! They love when I get things completely wrong. And it's not even me getting things completely wrong. Me being hyped at the end of the Ghost Girl event. Like, yeah, that is a massive, massive event. They confirmed that they can see the other worlds in Duel Links. What company would then do nothing with that storyline for 18 months and is probably not going to do anything with that storyline for the next 18 months and probably 18 years? Only Konami, man. Listen, it's unbelievable, but I get it. I get excited about these things. I get really, really pumped. And then when nothing happens, people laugh because I was wrong. It is what it is. It's part of. It's part of making videos.
It's these same people though that will also not chime in whatsoever when you hit
No.
the nail on the head.
Why
As
would
you
they give
sometimes
They
do.
can't give you
As you
flowers,
sometimes do.
kidding me?
Well, I
Kidding
mean,
me?
listen,
No.
I have a long list somewhere in this notebook of people that made fun of me, told me to shut up, said horrible things when I would have talked about the mystery girl in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Me
Go
and Dylan,
Rush,
Oh,
and that she would have a more important role. I'm still waiting for a lot of those people to apologize. You know,
no one's apologizing. No one's
Wait,
apologizing.
I'm sorry. I just want to read you a notebook that has a list of names of people that have said mean things about you.
Oh
it's
my
not a
God.
death note, okay? It's
Okay.
a
It's on-
freaking,
Oh boy.
it's a regular spiral binder notebook, but
That's how it all starts.
I mean, her being Otis in every universe, man, that was that felt good.
No,
That's still crazy.
That felt good when that got
Oh
confirmed.
man, Dill, I can't believe that. That was my favorite part. I'm like, yes.
I
you're
was
right.
cheering, I was jumping up and down, man. It
You're going
was
crazy on that one.
what a moment.
It was beautiful.
But yes, by the way, I will never apologizing when I feel it's right for trying to hype up like a potential changing event when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't do this very often, but like me expecting another Yu-Gi-Oh! Series to be announced at last year's Jump Festa, and then people saying, oh, you should apologize for that. I can't believe you were hyping that up. You hyped everybody up for nothing. I will tell you right now, I will never apologize for that. And if you really want to anger me, say that to me. Because, again, anybody that thinks the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime was just going to end and I should have known that, or anybody should have known that, is
don't
lying
even-
through their teeth.
Don't get
So,
yourself worked
I'll
up.
just say that.
It ain't worth it.
I'm getting worked up, man. No, I'm kidding. Good comment. All right, Dredge, what's the next one?
Our next comment is from the best 10 moms in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? Was it the top?
Oh,
top
God.
10 best in Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime.
I guess we're going in a different direction here.
I guess next year someone else in the crew will do top 10 mommies in Yu-Gi-Oh! I nominate Pete to do it. Pete, we need an answer for this right now.
Well, Nick T, you were the original. You were the originator of top 10 moms in Yu-Gi-Oh! I did that on Mother's Day last week. I mean, talk about the pressure of doing a video like that. Like, Pete probably reads this, thinks it would be easy. It wasn't easy.
No, it's not easy. At least I probably put some unnecessary pressure on myself, setting up a pretty extensive list of criteria.
Nick T, we're losing your audio.
Dude, Jesus.
Now you're
I'm so
good.
sorry. I probably put some pressure on myself by putting a lot of criteria and generating an extensive list of characters, like a pretty exhaustive list of characters that could be, but were or weren't. And so I probably put more pressure on myself than there was. But yeah, you know what? It is a daunting video, and I think the hopes of the community rest on a video like that.
Do you think Pete has enough experience here to judge Yu-Gi-Oh! Mommies, to use this commenter's terminology?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Possibly. Mothers? Absolutely.
Nick T, there was one that we were suggested for. Somebody wrote in one of my streams, can you and Nick T do a collab video next Mother's Day? Top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Women we would call mommy.
No, I'm going to shut that down right now.
I'm absolutely in.
No, we're not doing that.
I mean, it may end up being a not dissimilar list
You want to
from
know
mine.
what the channel ender is? It's that video. That's
No.
the video.
It's not my
Everyone
suggestion.
in
That
chat is screaming, no, oh my God, cut that, no way. So that should be your answer right there.
It's just confirmation bias, really, Dredger.
Confirmation by bro.
all right. The final comment for Pulse of the community, Dredger. What is it? How are we ending?
No, it's mine.
Oh,
bro.
Nick T, how are we
Come
ending?
on.
Nick T, this
Why are you
guy be
doing
messing up
that?
today. What the hell?
Oh my God! Now I have to scroll to it because you got me all messed up.
Oh God.
It is. Oh, so this is actually a 1-2 punch here.
Mm.
It's two comment. Well, it's a comment and its response on a YouTube video. I believe the Yu-Gi-Oh! Chronicles anime is here, and I have some concerns. Video. Dylan is slowly losing his composure every revelation we get. For someone as optimistic as him, this truly speaks to how dirty we have been done in the past 2 months. And the reply was, he will eventually become the supreme king and lay waste to Konami.
Okay, well, first of all, I
mean,
hope
I
not.
feel-
I mean, that's
I feel like this just really highlights how some, even actually without being done dirty. I think you do tend to descend into madness as we theorize more and more. And this really just not only highlights you now, but like throughout your career as a YouTuber, you end up losing it, and we descend into madness.
Can you imagine, Nick T? I want to paint the picture for you. I want to paint the picture for everybody watching live or watching on replay or listening, however you're consuming this podcast. Can you imagine we are all together at the end of this year for Jump Festa 2025, and we get another nothing burger?
Oh God.
It's scary, right? It's scary to imagine.
It's a possibility.
I think I would lose it. I think I would lose it.
That. Yeah, your reaction is what would scare me.
I don't think I'd become the Supreme King. That's a little intense, but I would like lightly punch a couch.
Maybe bend a piece of.
I think I'd like maybe punch like a pillow or something. Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, or maybe like take a whole handle of Svedka to the face.
No,
I was gonna say this could be the Jump Fest that we get Dylan wasted.
No.
Am I doomed? So I have not been drunk probably since like 12th grade of high school, which was like 2012.
Wait, Dylan, if someone told you that if you got pissed drunk at Jump Fest, so they'd announce Yugioh 9, would you do it?
Immediately. That's not even. I've also never smoked weed. I would get crossfaded.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. For these people, because they deserve another show, I would get crossfaded for Yu-Gi-Oh 9. How about that?
Can you do that on stream?
No, definitely cannot. No.
I would do what it takes for this wonderful community to get another show. If that's what it takes.
I mean, I don't know if that would change anything, but
yeah, no, it doesn't change.
It's just some random Konami employee just did that to like get me to do it, and they don't actually like announce something.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we didn't think you'd actually do it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, listen, I'm this comment's not too bad. The first two were
the first two were rough. The third one was interesting, but
we thought we'd go easy on you after those two.
We tried.
No, I appreciate it. I just yeah, it's like, it's so funny, man. I really do pride myself on being optimistic, but part of that territory is if like you get optimistic, you try to get excited, you try to hype people up when you genuinely believe something's going to happen. If nothing happens, commenters are going to get the last laugh, and you just have to
people love to hate, man.
You have to be okay with it.
Let it go.
That was good. We have a couple more donations to wrap us off here, boys.
That is true.
We do, yeah.
Beautiful.
I just want to make sure I'm not missing any. I'm just gonna.
I'll read one. I think you need to grab one, but I can.
Do
I think so.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think I've grabbed it, but let me make sure.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. But I'll read this one. We got $10 from Light Melody VA.
Light Melody, great to hear from them again. It has been a long time since I have seen Light Melody around. It's great to hear from you. I hope you're having a great 25.
Been a while. I've been watching GX again, and if we aren't getting any Master anime, can we at least get a long movie? I still have that idea of a GX movie 3 years later where they introduce synchro. Yeah,
and then you see some GX characters like playing synchro stuff. I think it would be amazing. No, Light Melody, I think that would be really, really cool. Listen, I said it as well. I think it's really a shame that what they did for the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is announced the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Disaster, and that's what they're airing. I think it really is like a shame, because I think the time that they spent doing their fun little crop job for the episodes and like upscaling it, even though that causes like ghosting lines to happen, I think they could have done a 1-episode OVA, or how about you bring the GX manga to life? You make like 20 episodes for the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga, and you do a season for 6 months on that. Like, I think those are so much, or the GX movie, there's so many cooler ways to honor it. I feel like what they ended up doing for it is like, I just think it's like very lazy. And, if you don't take my word for it that the remaster is like not good, I obviously got someone who's animated for Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush before on that video speaking, and you could take a look at one of the animators that worked on the original Duel Monsters, who was very critical of the remaster and said, it cuts out like shots that we worked very, very hard to bring to life, and like it feels very, very like unfortunate. So those are people that have worked on the animation side for Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, not just a fan like me. So it's a shame. There was a lot of, I think, much better. And then you have, you know, the general Annie tubers on Twitter, as soon as it got announced, hyping it up. Yeah, GX season 4 is getting dubbed. Yeah, we're getting a new
GX
season of GX. It's like, do you? And then, you know, 20,000 retweets. It's like, okay, but I'm the one for falsely pumping up people. You know, give me a break. Anyway, like, not to get, you know.
Yeah, and then the second you're critical of everyone's like, "Yo, you've been so negative lately."
Yeah, you can't win. I can,
Can't win. Can't win.
but I love it. I really do love it. Light Melon. If I didn't love it, man, I wouldn't be able to make content. I mean, you just have to like. It has to like brush. You have to be able to brush it off like water off a duck's back. You know, it's the most important thing.
Well said.
That was good, right, Nick T?
Well said, yeah.
Was that better than
like
better than the Applebee's analogy?
Nothing could be worse than that analogy.
It was more universal. I will say that it was more.
Thank you, Light Melody. Appreciate you very much.
And then I think if I'm at least on our end, we only have one more dono, and that is from Electric Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
With 5 Australian, and he said, if the anime returned, what type of studio would likely animate it? Maybe one that makes toys or kids anime like OLM could do it, though I hope it's not OLM.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Nick.
Do you know who? I'm not familiar.
I think I do. I don't want to. OLM.
I don't know.
I actually don't. No, I don't. I thought it was the Vanguard studio, but that's not them. Yeah, I don't know much about OLM. OLM does Pokemon. Okay. They've done Pokemon since 1997. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do Yu-Gi-Oh!
They're definitely not.
That doesn't even... Like,
no, Pokemon is like they're going to keep rocking with Pokemon, I think. I'd be...
no offense to them, they don't need Yu-Gi-Oh!
They don't need it, dude. No, they got the biggest like anime there is.
I'd argue,
to some degree.
At least from a like that kind of style.
Yeah, from the toy style. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe the studio that does Vanguard is like an interesting choice. I'm not going to lie and pretend like I know a lot about like studios and their capacity of handling Konami animation. I'm sure that's what you would say, Dredge, as an answer to this question, because you're kind of adamant that like you think they'll eventually do Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe. I don't know. Have your thoughts changed on it?
I still feel strongly that the whole point of building your own animation studios to create your own products. It's easier, it's cheaper. They could outsource Konami if someone really wants, really loves the animation, especially, what they're seeing, even if it is only, a minute and 30 seconds, but they're seeing if they think that Konami could make it on a bigger scale. I do think that the Animation Chronicles being as short as there doesn't help Konami animation put itself out there. I think if it was a longer 7-8 minute video that they showed that they were capable of doing these things, other shows would want Konami animation to animate their mangas and their products and their IPs. So I think right now it's almost like I hate that the Animation Chronicle was as short as it was, but that being said, I think it bodes better for Yu-Gi-Oh! That Konami animation will do Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's not getting itself out there and think, this studio seems great and all, but they've had months and they did a 3-minute episode. That's it.
Yeah,
so they're gonna think, okay, they're not ready yet, which sucks for us because we still have to wait. But that being said, I think that means Konami's gonna have to show off their own Yu-Gi-Oh! Product at a higher scale or for a long amount of time for it to even be picked up. So I do think they'll end up doing the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Product that's not the Chronicles for sure.
By the way,
I think I'd need to.
Yeah, Nick T.
I think I would need to see if they like hire anyone that can like do writing of any kind, like dialogue.
Yeah, they didn't.
Because so far, it was all visual, which was cool.
Well,
but I need story and dialogue.
Yeah, I will say it right now. It was been up for 3 weeks. It's at 589,000 views, so it definitely has tapered off since reaching that 500K. I honestly don't think there's a lot of rewatchability to it. Like I would say,
rewatch?
Not at all.
I don't think there's any rewatchability. I mean, that you want to talk about like aura and hype moments. I mean, that's all that is.
I mean, that's all that it was. And as far as rewatchability, I mean, you go into the comments, someone's already timestamped all the cards that you would see, like all the archetypes. So like, it's right there. You watch it the first time, you hit the timestamps, you could see everything you want to see, and that's it for the
right.
episode.
The Pokemon shorts were just so much better, and they do have rewatchability because it's like it's an actual story. Like my biggest issue with the Chronicles, not to get like on that tangent, is we
should.
There was no story to it. And yeah, by the way, the top 5 comments that I see, when I finish this short anime, my opponent still hasn't finished his turn. A short anime? No, this needs a full anime series. I was here thinking, oh, no voice acting, only to explode when Ray said engage. This is the beginning of a new era for Yu-Gi-Oh! Animation projects. Yeah.
There's glazing.
26 seconds, YCC SSA is the code. That's why people have probably watched. I watched this twice already, and my opponent is still doing his Fiendsmith Azumina combo. Good job, Konami. So, I mean, everybody knows. Doesn't matter if you're an anime fan or a card game fan. It's like, come on. But we'll see. We'll see. And by the way, that studio does do Vanguard. I found it while you guys were talking. But
yeah,
great question, Kevin.
That as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting if it's not Konami Animation. I don't really know what studio will do it. I don't think it will be Bridge or Gallop. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't believe so necessarily either.
I don't think they're coming back.
No. Dark Emperor J, thank you for the $2 donation. So I went through Lies of P Chapter 4's map, and I can see why Dak hates it. Good luck, Dredge. Yeah, Chapter 4 is probably my second least favorite map. My least favorite is actually Chapter 3, the one that Dredge had just beaten. Lies of P, very fun game. Dredge, you're having a good time with it?
Yeah, definitely creepy, man. Puppets without faces and stuff. That's definitely not ideal. But I think you said that's your least favorite. Dak's least favorite is the next one. So we'll see.
And that's my second least favorite.
I should be playing that this week. Am I done with Chapter 3, Dylan, technically?
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
I am done. Okay, interesting. Cool.
Yeah, I'll be doing an 8-hour stream of Lies of P on Sunday at noon, so hope to see somebody there.
You're going to be like 6 chapters in, and I'm going to be still in Chapter 4 by the time.
Well, but it's my fourth. Right. I know the game inside and out. I can just I just rush through it. Yeah, it'll be my fourth. Dredge will be streaming it as well, so follow Dredge. Speaking of Dredge, by the way, and speaking of Nick T, the man to my right here, the man to my left, I thank them greatly for them coming on the show. The Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Show, their debut episode. Did you boys have fun?
Great time.
I had a great time, dude. This was a blast.
I think I'll be back.
I hope to be back.
I don't know the duo for episode 3. We'll probably switch it up. I don't want it to just be Cal, Pete, Nick T. I think other different combos will be fun. But I hope you guys enjoyed as well, because you guys, donations, watching most importantly, that is what allows me and us to do this Wednesday night. So we're happy we get to keep the Wednesday night vibes going, and we really, really hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to let Dredge and Nick T promote. Calibro and Pete's stuff is in the description. So Calibro, please. I don't know why I said Calibro, please. Dredger, please let us know what you're working on.
Stream at twitch.tv/Dredger. We do some Lies of P. We do Pokemon Nuzlocke. We do Yu-Gi-Oh! Nuzlocke. We do it all. Come on over and hang out sometime.
And Nick T.
No Twitch to promote at the given moment, but I will say I have been writing for Nameling again. So in the meantime, check out all the music I have online for Nameling, Fragile Homes, and Mom Fight. They're all on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, whatever you use to stream your music. Purchases on Bandcamp certainly help me move forward, make merch, do all that good stuff. So I would love if you could check that out and be on the lookout. Hopefully the album will come out sooner rather than later. So
yeah,
be on the lookout.
Hopefully we're waiting for him and we're excited.
Very exciting. This has been episode 2 of the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. Yeah, we're going to have to do a Barrett Letty Uncle Wayne call-in segment at some point. Huge shout out to everybody in chat here at the end. Tyler, Watermelony, Legendary Duels, Janeth, Alpha, Pete, United, Pick, Barrett, Mark, That Man. I usually don't look at chat during the streams, but for the outro of these streams, I'll shout people out. Angie, Dak, appreciate all you guys. Huge, Elaine, happy birthday to you as well. Huge thank you to everybody here, to everybody that watched. This concludes episode 2 of the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Show. Thank you so much for watching. We will be doing another episode most likely on May 28th. It's an every other Wednesday night show, so we'll see you then. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys. Have a great night.